So you woke up after your. I mean, really, you all had a tough night. Maybe not you. You weren't directly attacked in that plant attack when you rolled into town, Noralai, but it still seemed rather stressful. And then, I mean, to just get savaged in your dreams, let alone what a plant could have done to you, but didn't. So, all right. Well, Mordecai, if you want to give a quick little summary of what's been going on with you, you're welcome to. As you do have a couple things that were floating around in your noggin.
Right now, I am unconscious as much as a vampire can be, and have had some pretty stressful interactions with Jade because of the fact that I am a vampire, I guess, now, whatever that means. And, just having some, if at all, like, there's maybe a dream that came to me or a vision. I don't know for sure, but we'll find out.
All right. I think we're still waiting for Celine, played by Lethality Complex, to hop in, and that's fine. He can take care of what he needs to. So let's keep going down the line. Jade, what's a blurb going on with you right now?
Jade at this point is, well, Jade's not here. Who's here is Tibba. Tibba is a small child who apparently was and is not kidnapped by a group of vampires. The truth of the matter is the party came to find them. The Tibba that is with them, though, is not the true Tibba. It is this horrible thing. It calls itself Jade. Jade has woken up from, I should say, a nightmare into another. Her nightmare, very, very different. It's one of the few individuals you can, in fact, threaten with a good time, as she got to end up having a taste of the ignorance and the wonder that would have led to a very hopeful life, rather than the truth that she knows. Now she plays the role of Tibba. As she does, she bounces from role to role. For what machinations, who knows? But at this point, it at the very least has stopped her want to end Mordecai's life and fulfill the promise that she made: the extermination of the Fae, of the Fanged Ones. All of them need to be removed, even if it takes forever. Genocide is on her mind when it comes to these things that are unnatural and not a part of the plan.
Whew, you have loaded up your plate from that buffet, sir, or ma'am in this case. Well, I don't know. If you're Tibba, then it's sir. But yes, you are bringing quite the loaded plate back from the plot buffet. Then, Bright. Hi, Bright. What's going on?
Hi. Um, so things have gotten really weird. Everybody's having weird dreams, and me too. But everybody else had really sad or really scary dreams, and mine was different. It was just kind of a bummer because mine seemed to be saying that no matter what I do, I'm never going to be able to go home again, and that's really sad. But like I've been telling the Mordecai, you still have a choice, and the future times it's weird for me to say this because I can sometimes tell what's going to happen in the future,
Mm-hmm.
but I still believe that you always have a choice, and that what happens depends on what you do, and it isn't really fated. So that's the whole reason I'm on this, is to control my visions so that they don't always come true, or so that they don't have to come true, or so that you can change them if you want to. So I'm just going to keep trying, and I'm going to look at it as a challenge to overcome, and not just a thing that I can't do anything about. So that's all. So that's all. Okay, bye.
All right, then. We will move into.
I We have a lethality now.
Oh, do we have lethality
Yes.
now? Oh, snap!
Yes, we do.
Very well then. Go ahead and if Celine would like to give a little bit of a blurb about what's going on in her noggin, then we will have you all waking up and interacting in some way here in the Tumbled Wench.
Yes, my noggin. Such a thing to see. Weirdly enough, it's not too much different. Yeah, no, give me a second. Hold on.
It's fine. It sounds like it might be instead, because we had a little bit of a problem, I think, with your webcam mic last time. I think it might be your headset. You're sounding a lot clearer this time.
Yeah, no, I just swapped it over to my headset.
Okay.
It likes to change my default mic to the webcam when I plug it in for some reason. But anyway, what's in my noggin? Well, I have to say it's not things that I don't think about on a regular basis. Unlike some of my former colleagues think, I do actually think of, ethics. The ethical ramifications of the things that I do are not lost on me. That being said, well, you can't make an omelette without breaking a few eggs.
Well, your noggins are wonderful eggs, I believe. They have a nice white shell, and then there's some nice content inside that can be stirred up and cooked up.
Now we're having internet issues. Yay!
It's fine. I can still hear you. I just don't have a camera feed. But if that needs a minute, or if you think your camera's working and you want me to refresh, let me know.
Well, I can see it. I can see my camera.
Okay, sure. I'll give it a refresh on my end and see what's going on.
Yeah, if you just go right click, if you just go right click and go reconnect.
Hey, there you go. There we go. All right. So, things and stuff has happened. That's an excellent summary. It may not be too specific, but it is what it is. You are all going to, well, I mean, Mordecai can come around here, but for right now, just stay in your holding pattern, Mordecai. Let's see. I actually think who got the corpse as a roommate? Was it Jade?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so Jade, well, Tibba, in this incarnation right now. Oh, do you have a fan blowing on you, Lethality?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Let me see if I can't. Shit.
It's fine. I'm sure it's pretty warm. So I mean, do what you got to do. I don't know if there's like a tolerance, or even if you have to do like a push to talk or something.
Yeah, no, I'll stop the push to talk.
Okay. So I'll tell you what then. Tibba, you wake up. You have Mordecai. I mean, you do wake up. You don't have any holes in your neck. Mordecai is motionless.
Why would I have holes in my neck?
Oh shoot! I don't know. Yeah, Tibba might not. Well, anyway, then maybe.
Is there something I should know?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, you have Mordecai laying motionless in the room with you.
He needs to wake up. Breakfast is coming soon. Little Tibba ends up scampering over to him and puts his tiny hands on him, Mordecai, and starts shaking him. Mordecai, it's breakfast time. It's breakfast time.
Mordecai is being a real big sleepy butt right now. And he's just not wanting to move. But I don't know, maybe it was a rough night. You might have had a bad dream. The curtains are drawn, so there's that too.
There were bad dreams. I remember being a mummy for some reason. That was weird. Scary. And everybody was good. It's okay. No. Yeah, you're right. Sunlight might help him. Waddles on over and lets him show dawn and just flies open those curtains.
Beam of light shines down on Mordecai, and Tibba, Mordecai, where his face or other parts of his body are exposed to the light, you start seeing almost like a firefly effect as little motes of light just kind of like rise up off of him and just disappear into the air of the room. And he has this kind of glowing effect.
Very quickly pull the curtains shut, and I go and get help.
Okay.
Slim might know what to do. Bright might know what to do.
Okay. So you run over, and were the rest of you roomies in some capacity? Was someone alone?
I think all three of us were together.
Okay.
Celine and Norlai and I
Oh.
were all packed into one room.
Yep.
And Celine and Norlai took the beds, and I was in a dresser drawer.
Yep. That's right. Hey, sometimes being small has some good economic, some savings there, as long as you're comfortable with it. All right, so
As comfortable as it might have been.
there's and one or others of you can do what you have a knocking at the door.
Hey, I'll answer the door unless someone else is already doing it.
I don't feel like getting up right now.
Okay, well, I'll hop out of the dresser drawer. I wasn't very comfortable anyway, and then I'll open the door.
Yeah, it's just like a little coffin or something. All right, and so you go and there's Jade.
Bright.
Oh,
Bright.
what do you need?
Mordecai is disappearing and sparkly.
Oh yeah,
He's not waking up.
sometimes he does that. So he's gonna need. We're gonna need to get him probably some special food before he can get better. And I know where to get it. We're gonna have to go into town a little ways, but it shouldn't be too hard. But he'll probably wake. So we got him the right kind of breakfast.
Right kind of breakfast. Daddy always said that it was best to end up waking up with sausage and eggs.
Well, it's kind of like sausage and eggs. If it was blood sausage and blood eggs.
Ew. Why would anybody want that? Ew.
Yeah, I know. But that's what he's gonna want. So we'll just have to go and get that for him, and hopefully it won't take too long. But I don't want it for myself. I really, normally I like strawberries, but today for some reason I really want bananas, so I hope they have some.
Yeah, that's some sort of just subconscious message, something about bananas.
So, hi, Celine, are you guys awake? Are you ready to get up?
Yeah.
Try magic just a little bit. And it'll only take like 10 or 15 minutes, because I can do it in a hurry, but I still need to do it.
That's fine.
Okay.
I guess I'll get up.
You do what you need to do. And Selena will get up and head out of the room.
Celine currently has a Tibba latched onto her side.
Oh, okay. Wonderful.
All right, then the crew really, because we have Yori and Jack as well. And we can't forget about. I presume that Peggy Sue is summoned as well. Yes. Or no?
She probably would have been sleeping in the drawer with me, so
Okay.
yes.
Okay.
For right here, so I know she's around.
Her and Yori may be friends. We're not sure yet.
They played a little last night, and I don't think either one got hurt, so that was a good sign.
All right. Well, Mordecai is lying in state, rather peaceful looking. He hasn't moved. That's a good thing. If you're checking on him, otherwise, if you're going to the kitchen, then he's not in the kitchen. Who's doing what?
I'm just going to be going and getting some food.
Sure. Okay.
Yay! My magic first, and hopefully, if anyone could bring me up, if they have fruits, or if they don't have fruits, then vegetables, or if not, then I'll just get something in town. But I need to practice first. So if I can do that while you guys go get food, that'd be great.
I could go get you some food and bring it up, but do you have money? I don't have money for food.
Oh, I mean I do. Usually it's included. Is it not included here?
I don't know. I don't stay at inns a lot.
Okay. Well, here you can have a silver piece.
Okay,
And
thank you. I'll bring you up some fruit.
The last thing I heard was to give a silver piece. Did something get cut off?
I give a silver piece to Norlai in case they charge for the food. I don't think they will, but she can still have a silver piece.
And I'm gonna bring up some fruit for Bright.
All right, Bright, you're going to stay beside Mordecai and work on your spells then, yes? Or are you staying in the room?
I'll stay with... I was gonna stay in the room rather than with Mordecai. I don't think he needs me right now.
Okay. He's pretty... yeah, I mean, he's kind of just there right now. You can get like he's like a tiefling skin rug. You just sort of like, flap him out and put him wherever you want. He's just he's a nice throw piece or something. Might make for a good, like, a body pillow or something, just, or one of those snuggle pillows that looks like an arm, kind of like this, and you're like, you just lay back. All right, well then, downstairs, there be breakfast, and downstairs as well is Pouty Lips, the merchant, who is he's burbling as you'd expect him to. He's just kind of like stirring some oatmeal as he's just maybe going over something in his mind. He looks a little like just a little grumpy. Though they do have a very basic breakfast for you for staying. You get kind of the continental breakfast for staying, waking up in the morning. Norlai, that extra silver piece will come in handy as they do have some fresher foods, and probably the variety that Bright would like more.
I'll eat for free, and I'll buy Bright some fruit.
Now, unfortunately, they don't just have a bucket of blood just hanging out there as part of the buffet. It's not like sawmill gravy and biscuits. Instead it's just a bucket of blood and for blood sausage and blood eggs. But wouldn't that be convenient? Good old country breakfast right there. Okay, so eating, you can talk amongst yourselves. You can address Pouty Lips, who's just sort of stirring his oatmeal. There are no bar fights, and there are hopefully no shape-shifting druids who are going to get into a fight over eggs. Although I don't know if somewhere in the back of Tibba's mind I don't know if that ever just comes up. Unless there's anything specific, then you want to interact with, your breakfast can pass without incident.
Yeah, I mean, Celine is just gonna eat her food and ruminate on what she saw.
Okay.
I'm gonna be really quiet.
All right. So Norlai and Celine are sitting together and being completely just lost in themselves.
Looks
Ready?
confused.
It's the old timey version of sitting at a lunch with friends and just doing this the whole time. Just trying to. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead, Jade.
Oh, I'm just confused. I'm trying to end up watching, and nobody seems to be doing anything, and I'm wanting to end up helping. So I just continue to nom on bacon.
All right, you nom away, and as you, well, at least Tibba is being rather chipper about things. As the other two of you are sitting down, and you're also kind of stirring your oatmeal. Pouty Lips, who has finished his, comes over, and he sits down on the bench. It gives a bit of a creak, as he's a bit of a girthy fellow. A gentleman of cherub demeanor, I guess we'll say. And that is, naturally well, that is to say, with all due respect, can you possibly, can you tell me what happened? Why am I in Snamfi?
To put it sure, I'll say. But to put it simply, well, basically, it was because we made a deal. We made an agreement. You might not remember, you were kind of incapacitated at the time, but we had an agreement to come to Snamfi and look for Tibba.
Well,
I just thought. It is not Tibba, that's Jade.
What?
And he's just kind of blustering. I don't. That is to. Well, I must say. Oh dear. Oh, I must say that I did. Oh, I don't believe I entered such a thing. But what was the terms? And he blusters. His facial hair kind of like puffs out with his blustering as well.
It's like we would advertise you, and you would take us to Snamfi on the condition that we would provide provisions for the trip.
No, well, just checking over, and that is to say, there's certain things and procedures, and well, of course you understand that. I'll have to go and investigate into this more. Please, excuse me. And with the bench's load lightens as he stands up, and he saunters off to apparently go try and find some kind of, I don't know, record or inventory or something along those lines. But you've scratched his itch initially. He's not getting violent. He just wasn't sure what was going on, and it took him 10 minutes to say it.
So he just turns to Norrelai and just gives a little wink before going back to looking in her room.
I'm done eating. I'm gonna go bring Pride up her food now.
Okay. Norlai goes and purchases some assorted fruits and or vegetables. There's probably some big like gnomish debate going on right now about, is it tomato a fruit or a vegetable, and really who knows. But you bring a small assortment up to Bright. Celine, that leaves you downstairs with Tibba. And there is also the request that, well, not for her consumption, Bright was giving an indication that perhaps acquiring something more palatable for Mordecai would be needed.
Yes, come along, Tibba. We have things to do. She's gonna go upstairs and go see the currently slumbering Mordecai.
Okay, so you're going to go back upstairs into Mordecai's room.
Yes.
Okay. Well, Tibba, if you're following, you and Celine are going to plop down next to a still motionless Mordecai. And Noralai, maybe while you did use her own money, you are at least offering this gesture of vegetarian delights to Bright.
Well, thank you so much. What did you bring me? So I can't see it for some reason.
Okay. Well, I don't know what this one is called, but it was really cool looking, and it's yellow. Here you go.
Oh, thank you. I think this is a lemon. I guess I can eat this. It's pretty sour. You want to try some?
This poor Bright.
I'm not really a big fan of sour things.
Oh, well, here, let me, here. Okay, I changed it. Now it's going to taste better. It's going to taste like lemonade now instead of a lemon. See, when tieflings bring you lemons, make lemonade. That's an old gnomish proverb.
Okay, I'll try one. Oh, but I also got these ones. These are apples.
And I like those.
Yeah, and then I found some oranges. I know what those are.
Those are some of the best ones. And they keep you from getting scurvy.
What's scurvy?
It's bad. You don't want it. Sometimes sailors get it.
Yeah, and then there's this green thing here. They said it was a vegetable. But I didn't really ask for the name of it. So there you go. Have that.
That's an avocado. Filler now. It's very trendy.
I foresee it in the future. Everyone will be putting it on toast and
Going
everything.
to have it in gonna have it on that toast.
But they're saying it's vegetable, so I don't know.
Okay, so this is all really good. I really like this. I'm really happy, and thank you very much for doing this for me.
You're welcome.
So I think I finished practicing my magic. It takes 16 minutes. Yep. So I'm going to go over and check on Mordecai as well.
Okay, so while you're having a breakfast and sort of a bonding moment here, Pink with Violet, Celine and Tibba, you can have a little bit of time yourselves with Mordecai before Bright. I don't know, Noralai, were you going to follow Bright, or were you going to stay behind?
I'll follow Bright.
Okay.
I'll use my small knife to cut this lemonade lemon.
Okay.
You better eat it fast, because the flavor, it's going to go wrong in just a few minutes.
And mind you, by cutting into citrus, even with prestidigitation, it doesn't take the sting out if it squirts in your eye. Oof, that burns. At least it's not a grapefruit. All right. So anyway, Celine and Tibba, you're in the room with Mordecai. He's lying still. What are you saying or doing? Miss Celine, I think we're gonna have to go into town and find him something from the butcher. I mean, I know we could wake him up ourselves. You know how I do that, but I don't want to do it too much because he's gonna turn into the bad kind of vampire. Are you?
And I don't want that. What do you think?
Are you? I thought you weren't in Mordecai's room.
Wake him up, and then we'll get him some stuff at the road.
It could just, I mean, it doesn't matter as much who it's from. I think it might just be the total amount. Although probably changing it from one person to another would make it better. But I'm just worried for him. I don't want him to go all, grr-arg.
Well,
Did we lose Daddy and Lorelai?
If he does, it'll be my responsibility.
I lost feed from everyone but Jade, so Jade won the.
Quiet, but
Jade won the survival contest. I gotta reset your all's video, I guess.
Okay. I saw the video disappear, and I was like, I'm concerned.
Yeah,
Are we having another power outage?
Yes, a wave of darkness emanates off of Jade the Wretched and just consumes all of you, leaving. There is only Jade.
Maddie's side. But that's fine.
Carry on.
Celine's just like, it's alright, I'll wake him up just this once, and if he goes feral, shall we say, then I'll deal with it.
I mean,
How do you want to wake him up?
oh,
Oops, sorry, I'm not hearing you,
Not
lethality.
So, I'm going to grab a dagger, I'm going to slide it across my hand, and I'm going to let the blood trickle into Mordecai's mouth.
Okay. Alright. So, plip, 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 plip. Drops of blood are falling. Tibba is watching Celine bleed into Mordecai's mouth. Her bright red blood is splashing over his pearly fangs there.
You guys keep feeding him and it's gross.
What's that?
yeah, I didn't
guys
want to
You guys keep
do it
feeding him
either.
and it's gross.
Stick to the animal blood as much as we can, but that's what Celine wanted to do, so...
Does Tibba have any reaction?
Trust me, it's better than the alternative.
Tip was a little frightened when they end up talking about the idea of feeding him. Well, feeding him in general. This discussion does not go well for a young man such as himself.
All right.
No.
You watch then, both Celine and Tibba, as where the blood was hitting him in his mouth, he gets a little bit of a twitch in his cheek. Like if you ever watched a cat sleep and they kind of have their their whiskers kind of go twitch twitch, you're getting something like that from Mordecai, and with every plip plip plip, a little bit more. Not really like a flush of life or anything, but you're getting where the dead flesh was laying still. It's twitching and moving a little bit. So you're getting something akin to maybe kind of like an REM kind of sleep. Mordecai, I need you to make a con save for me. You are at disadvantage.
Oh boy. Well, that's a...
All right, so it's not a 20. But instead it is a 7. And so Mordecai, you are you're having a dream of sorts. I know you went through it in the chat roleplay, if that's what you wanted to stick to. And I would urge any of you in the audience, if you want to read the side roleplay that the characters do, you're welcome to it. It's a fun little in-between sessions. Mordecai, things are just sort of building to an emotional climax here, and now that your body is starting to reactivate, you just have this kind of like fight or flight, this instinct about you, and with just supernatural speed, you quickly raise your hands up and grab onto Celine's arm and take like just a big. Like you try and just like, you're not trying to like crack open Celine and like shotgun her or something like that, like a beer. You're not cracking open a half elf here with the boys. But you're definitely taking like long pulls off of her. But you're drinking through a straw here, bud. So it's kind of bottlenecked. Celine. Mordecai's fangs are in you, and he has this very sort of wild child kind of primal look. His hair is in a tussle. His eyes are very like dry, bloodshot looking, and he's trying to drink from you in this state. You're immediately safe because it's not like he just like tore into he didn't tear into an artery or something. But he's definitely taken pulls off of you. Given your observational skills, or that this is kind of something I think you've been documenting. What do you want to do here? He's just like he's a wee little babu who's trying to drink from a bottle here, and you're the source. So you're controlling his feed.
Well, I just wanted to give him enough to wake him up so we could go get some actual blood for him. So I'm going to gently grab him by the hair and see if I can't lift him up and off my hand. And
Okay.
while Celine is doing that, she's going to say, "You could at the very least buy me dinner first."
Sure. Go ahead and make a. You can make opposing athletics.
Oh joy, athletic.
Sixteen and 16.
It's a tie.
Okay, so there's a little bit of a tug of war. Tibba, you see that Mordecai is like kind of like on Celine's hand, but she's not necessarily freaking out. It's not like a dog, like a small dog bit her, and she's just like flailing it around, like get it off, get it off. But they're having this kind of like, she like pets him like, okay, come on, Mordecai, come on, and he's just he's staying on there. Are you interacting or are you watching?
This is horrifying.
Yeah. Are you running out screaming?
No, Bright's here, right? Or
It's true.
yeah, Bright's here. So
They
It's
weren't
a
yet.
little-
This was taking place while Norlai and Bright were having a fruit breakfast together and talking while you were doing this.
Oh, I thought we were there. Because I was
okay.
talking to Celine before this happened.
Well, that's why I asked if I misheard you and you were staying with Mordecai or not. You'll be on scene soon, but right now for Tibba.
Tibba at this point is probably completely overwhelmed with what is going on, and is at this point huddled in the corner, probably behind the open door, just like, don't see me.
Okay.
Peeking between that gap.
Then it's at this point, Bright, you come in and Nora lies behind you. You go to open the door, and it only opens instead of like swinging to a wider angle. You open the door, and you can kind of hear like a oof behind the door, and it stops a little short.
No. Sorry, is there enough room for me to squeeze through?
Yes, yeah, there is.
Okay, I'll squeeze through.
Okay. Norlai can too. It's just you have a human doorstop behind it.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to hit you with the door. We don't need that.
Are you charming Tibba, or are you
mean?
Yeah,
We don't trust
Bright doesn't
children.
like Jade as Tibba.
So Norlai and Bright, you two come into this. Tibba is sobbing behind the door, having gotten bonked, and Mordecai and Celine are having. It's not like an epic wrestling match. They're just sort of in a weird position where Mordecai's just sort of nomming on Celine's hand, and I mean, there's not even blood like falling out because Mordecai is definitely. He's lapping up everything. If anything, it's a little awkward because he's just sort of like, you like see his tongue darting around, and he's like, he's like a fruit bat trying to eat a fruit or something, just not letting a drop fall. But hey, hail, the gang's all here. Mordecai is awake.
And use dancing light to distract him from everything and cheer him up. It's okay.
Ooh, pretty.
Okay. Norlai is distracting Tibba. Bright Celine, what is your solution for Mordecai? He's he's awake, but he's kind of in a bit of a feral mood, as he's being a little grumpy puss at not getting enough blood here.
I just came in, so I'm not completely prepared for the scene. So I'm just gonna look, and then I'm gonna face palm a little bit, and I'm gonna wait for developments.
Okay.
Hey, Bright, would you mind helping me pry him off?
What? I mean, what's happening? Why is this?
Well, I wanted to give him just enough to wake him up, but turns out he wanted more.
Yeah.
Celine, you have given him 5 hit points of your blood, and so Mordecai is at 5 hit points right now.
So, I think he should stop drinking this blood. Don't you have a spell that like makes him calm?
It's like I have a spell that makes him very frightened.
Okay, that's not really what we want right now. I was hoping you had the one to make him calm. So I guess I'll just pull him back. There's so many cats.
Yeah.
Oh,
I can't help it. She's gonna claw the hell out of my hip until I pick her up.
I'm on watch doing that here too.
I love you, Kiki.
Mordecai, your eyes kind of focus back again, and you see that you have Celine's hand in your mouth, and kind of looking around like.
And I'm kind of like conscious about it now.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah, you're coming to your senses. You know,
Okay, like I immediately like let her go and just like back into the corner of the bed.
okay, woo, and
Celine. I got the character she's there for a second. Fred is my Sunday character. Celine is going to is going to look at Mordecai, raise a brow, and simply say, as I said before, it'd be nice if you buy me dinner first.
So you guys are dating now?
Maybe.
up here.
I'm just being a very, very, very cheeky woman.
Very cheeky.
See, this is really dangerous. This is part of the reason why I want to try to stop doing this, because, see, before, just a few drops and it didn't matter, but look how feral he got. The more he drinks, the more, like, prone he is to being all grr-arg, and we don't want that to happen to him. Right now, he's still himself, but he won't be forever if he keeps drinking human blood, or almost human blood.
Mordecai, real quick to describe this, so to interject you into this. Now that you're conscious of your actions and yourself, the blood you were drinking from Celine feels like it's a hot day and you just drank a nice tall cool iced tea. You know, so you could feel it just sort of, you know, like that. You could feel the cold, or in this case, like the comfort that's just sort of like sliding down and then radiating through your body, which was otherwise like burning up and warm. Not temperature-wise, you're actually room temperature, but it's that similar effect of you just feel this refreshment as it spread through you, and there's just sort of like there's a subtle chill that comes with this blood, which is different than the blood that you had sampled from Bright. Which apparently tasted like strawberries, but also had its own different kind of mouthfeel, you know, its own sort of action on your body.
All of it a little disconcerting. But he's definitely very embarrassed, and is not not happy, but very embarrassed that that happened, because that's the last thing that he wanted, because Jade said that she was going to kill him if he got feral. Looking around, he doesn't see Jade, he sees Tibba.
Yep.
Tibba's currently staring at you, mostly in fear, but there might be that subtle hint in the back of the eye. That one part that might not be Tibba.
What's going on?
So, do you remember the plants from
Yeah.
yesterday? Yeah. So, you got beaten up by the plants, and also a little bit by me, which I'm really sorry about. But the plants were kind of in charge for right that moment. But I'm still really sorry about it, because I did punch you in the nose, and I feel really bad. But also the plants knocked you out, and then Celine decided to wake you up with blood, which we know works, but it's really dangerous, and it kind of went wrong, and you went a little grumpy. You kind of had a little bit of a Ger-Arg moment. And now you're here, and you're back to normal, which is a really good sign. And I don't think Celine got infected with vampirism, which is also a really good sign, which is another reason we have to be careful. Because Celine and as far as we know, Norlai are not infected with the vampirism, so it's more dangerous for them to give you blood, I think. But it's also the only choice, because I don't want to give it from me all the time, and Jade's being all weird, and obviously you can't drink your own blood, so I don't know, we don't have a lot of choices.
No. Everything about this sucks.
Yeah, that's why we need to get it cured as soon as we can.
Mordecai,
Yes.
I don't know if the pun was intended there, but
It's lost on me, I'm sorry.
Well, now that
Well,
Mordecai is...
I mean, this sucks, and it's just like, well, I bet it does.
As you do.
Yeah.
Mordecai, you're conscious. Welcome to a crash course in being back to things.
Mm-hmm. And that's a side of myself I don't want. That's what's happening to Tazri.
I imagine it's probably worse for Tazri, what with his, rage.
And he said that he's had several people.
Yeah, Tezri never really was all that controlled, even when he was not a vampire, so I'm pretty sure that, I mean, I think it's probably too late for Tezri, unfortunately. Although maybe if we kill the Master Vampire and everyone turns back to normal, he would turn back to normal too if we don't have to kill him first, which we might have to.
Should we find him?
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, if you want to die.
No,
I wasn't
with all-
planning on it by myself.
Yeah, with all of us working together, we could probably beat him, but in those terms, I'd rather try to find the Master Vampire so we can just get rid of the curse entirely. And that person, whoever that is, they might not even be in Mesomasca, because we know that the Imperial troops are all the vampires, and they're coming from wherever they're coming from. So I don't even know where to find them yet, but maybe someday we can find them, and then we can reverse the curse.
At least get it off the rest of you.
Yeah, that too. But as long as we don't die, we don't have to worry about it. But I mean, at some point, because everybody dies, and I don't know if you die from old age, if you'll turn into a vampire. But I don't want, in 350 years to die from old age and then turn into a vampire, and everyone would be so surprised.
Surprise!
You don't want any of this. This is
I know.
This is terrible.
Well, Tazri is out there. Mordecai, fortunately, you haven't, done things like tear deer in half in order to slake your thirst. If anything, you just sort of like kind of awkwardly suckled on Celine's hand for a little while she's kind of like, hey, come on, like kind of like slapping your cheeks and like, hey. But hey, who knows? Is this a slow, steady escalation, or are we talking on sort of like a logarithmic scale of just increasing
Exponential.
yes, some sort of exponential thirst here. But you have the day. You apparently have Tibba Flowerfield, who is cowering in the corner, being attended to by Norlai, who's making a dancing light puppet to distract him from the boo boo on his forehead, from the door bouncing against it.
It's not even the real Tibba.
I don't
It's
even.
not even a good copy. Doesn't even look like him.
Yeah, didn't he used to be shorter or
Yeah.
something?
I think he was shorter.
What's going on with this then?
I don't know. It's a Jade thing.
I'm
and
well. I'm willing to bet it's Jade.
Ever since she cut her hair, she's been super weird. And at first I liked it, but I don't like this part. It's weird.
So he turns his attention to Tibba and just kind of plainly asks, "What's your play?
What's a play? We're playing?
What are you playing at?"
You're not going to get anything out of Jade, Mordecai.
You've tried?
I've watched. I've been observing. It's not
Sure.
going to happen. So
Just kind of staring Jade down a little bit.
Tibba's hiding behind the door.
Hmm.
Just one eye peeking out, and then realizes you're staring down behind the door.
Do we just go with this? Did she say anything about a plan?
no, but what does Jade say anything about a plan? We need to find the real Tibba.
I'm okay with that. I mean,
So
but
if we go and find the Flowerfield family, I was hoping we would catch the kidnappers before they got here, but we
Yeah.
didn't. So if we go and we find the Flowerfield family, we might be able to talk to them, and they might let us help them. If we're really, really super lucky, they'll just want a ransom again, and then we can just, like, you know,
here's
pick
the
up the
problem with
ransom
that.
deal.
If Jade is posing as Tibba and she's following along with us, that's gonna cause issues.
Well, we'll have to do something about that separately. But the only place we know that has a connection to the Flowerfields is if we can just find the Flowerfield family. And Jade being all weird might help a little bit in case we need to, like, sneak in somehow. Or I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen when we get there. Not exactly.
Well, I mean, if push comes to shove, we can fake it until we make it.
That's what they say. I'm really proud you learned that.
Apparently,
What's your thought behind that, Celine?
my thought behind that is I have been practicing my people skills, shall we say. And, well, now's as good a time as any to pull them out.
Meaning,
Reading out of character, I took skill naming deception, and persuasion, and intimidation as my three,
Oh, snap.
Yeah, no, I took 3 charisma.
fair enough.
So, because, I mean, she's lied through her teeth a bunch of times, and it just so happened to work with her really crappy charisma. So, why not roll with it?
Right? Well, we definitely We definitely need to find Tibba and Tazray and the kidnappers.
And Tazray, we're gonna have to put in the ground.
Potentially.
It might be easier to find him. He seems to leave a trail behind him where he goes. Although he did say
like
that he'll
all
meet
the
you in
bodies.
Flowerfield, as he was also looking for Tibba to try and recover him from his vampiric kidnappers.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's kind of on my list.
No one in the dining hall was like, "Oh, did you hear about the grisly murder spree?" So that could be good.
Yeah. Well, we know that the kidnappers were keeping him alive, so we know that they probably aren't gonna just eat him unless they get really hungry. But we don't
Unless
really
they
know what
plan
they.
to turn him.
Well, they might.
I don't know what kind of play that would be, but
And why would they have waited?
yeah.
They could have done
Exactly.
it any time. So I don't think that's their plan. I think they're. I mean, we can hope they just want money or something, but maybe they want to. There's lots of things you could do with a child of an important family, and they're all bad, unless you're.
Yeah.
Most of them are. So, I'm sorry that we didn't find him, but I think we should go out into town, and maybe Celine can use her new people skills, and maybe she can gather some rumors or something, and we still need to get you some blood that's safer.
Yeah.
There's presumably a butcher in town.
Oh, I would like to go and do those things.
All right.
Should I stay put or come with you guys? Like, what's the plan?
I think you should come with. I mean, unless you, I mean, you're up and about, and I don't think you don't look like you feel really good, but I mean, you can move, you can travel, can't you?
I don't have any exhaustion, do I, Matty?
No, I mean nothing that's a mechanical exhaustion. I'm sure that you feel rather, you'd feel rather sore. I mean, you did get beat up and such. You still have, you still have wounds on you, but they're just not.
They're not sealing up.
Yeah. I mean, because you're only at 5 hit points, and so you're achy. I don't know. Your one finger probably doesn't bend the way that you thought it should. But
Convenient. I had to crack my knuckles. Then, and I didn't get my spells back either because I didn't rest. Right?
Yeah, you are having a very fitful dream. So you are now as you were when you fell.
Okay. Then I'm gonna cast Cure Wounds on myself really quick, just so that I have that.
Yeah, we don't want to get ganked again.
Nope.
Okay.
That was kind of a butt roll, though.
So your magic does,
good.
yeah, your magic does, act on your body, and you do see your.
Oh, I didn't see that one. Okay.
You do see your undead flesh starting to knit back together.
Okay. Cool.
Your finger kind of snaps back into the position it was supposed to. Things. Your body is now kind of like calming down. Not that you're still sort of in that feral panting mode. I mean, not that you have to breathe either, but you feel more stable.
Okay. Cool. All right, so I'm ready to travel.
Okay. Celine is going to go try to get word on the street, and one or more of you are going to be going to try and get blood at a butcher's. What is who's watching after Tibba?
I'll watch Tibba.
Okay. So, hey, Norlai gets to be a big sister to a little brother.
Yay.
Okay. Well, maybe I can go with Mordecai to the butcher's. I don't know, Mordecai. Maybe do you want to pick out the blood that you like the best?
I mean, I've only had pig's blood. I mean, it makes sense to
Well,
go
you've
with
had
what you
pig's
know.
blood, Celine's, and troll blood, and I mean, I'm counting up a lot of different kinds of blood.
I'm nothing humanoid. I'd be okay with anything else.
Yeah. So let's go find that then.
Okay.
Since I've had blood, I almost want to attempt to eat one of my rations.
Okay.
See if that works. Because it works on drugs.
Maybe.
Okay, so you
Spend a ration.
describe this to me. Describe this.
So he would eat a ration like he normally would. I mean, he had Celine's blood a second ago, so maybe like if it's still churning in his stomach or something, that eating a ration might do something to quell hunger.
Okay.
At least an attempt, because he hasn't attempted it yet.
As you're, as you are pulling out this jerky, and you're gnawing on it, you realize that your saliva glands don't work, and so you're just kind of tearing up and dry pulping this jerky in your mouth.
Really bad mouthfeel.
Probably, yeah.
And chew it as much as I can and swallow it.
Okay. It feels really awkward going down because you just have like dry pebbles of jerky going down your throat. It's probably a good thing you don't have to breathe because, probably one of them kind of went down the wrong pipe and you kind of have to like clear your throat or kind of squeeze it back up and out here because it is not moist at all. And you're just sort of like almost like a bird. Like you have to, you don't have to lean your head back, but swallowing is difficult because this is not liquid food, and your saliva glands don't work to help you break down the food and provide the lubrication to get it down into your gullet. And so overall, it's
unpleasant.
You tell me if it's awkward or whatnot, but I mean, I'm describing what you're going to have to go through here.
Well, it would feel unpleasant, I'm sure, but just kind of going for it at just an experiment, kind of see if there's something to it. If not, just going to give up.
You could have Celine be a mama bird and kind of pre-chew it for you and just sort of drop it in your mouth.
No.
Okay. That's the sort of thing I would usually say. So that was weird and kind of gross to watch. You look like an elf trying to chow down on dwarven meat. But so now we know.
Doesn't feel pleasant.
So, I mean, why do vampires have a full set of teeth if you can only use the pointy ones?
I know, right? Seems a little bit dumb. But maybe it's just something because turned from humanoids? Residual things, I guess?
I think it's more of the fact that vampires don't need to consume food or drink normally, but can if they so wish, and to do that requires
Well, it didn't seem to work very well for him just now.
It was worth a try as an experiment.
Okay. Yeah, that was interesting.
Maybe you could drink
sorry
less
if it
water
was
and then it would be easier.
Bad visuals. I'm gonna give up on that for now.
Okay.
Okay.
Then
Damn, I can't
Celine.
enjoy food like I like.
you were gonna take off and try and get the word on the street in some variety what's going on, or try and get the location. Were you looking for Tibba's house, or what were some of the things here that you're looking for?
Yeah, looking for mentions of them.
Okay.
And of the stuff. Basically looking for them and their family so we can have a talk to them about things that are going on.
Okay. Then, Celine, you're going to break off and go speak to people here. Norlai and Tibba, well, you're going to be together doing something. Are the rest of you just going to go with Mordecai and try and find blood?
What?
Sorry. No. So program my AI. What are you seeking to do in town?
Me and Bright, we're gonna go find the butchers. Yeah.
Okay.
That's where I want to go
Okay.
find a butcher.
Gotcha. All right then. And then Norlai the babysitter.
I haven't watched a kid before. What would you like to do?
I want to go home. Can we go home? It's just that way.
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. So Norlai and Tibba are boldly marching over in that-a-way in order to try and take Tibba home. Finding the butcher is going to be the easiest thing, and much like you found at the Cleaver Girl, they do have some blood for sale, relatively inexpensive, so it would depend on how much you're looking for here. All of you, though, are noticing that after last night's rainstorm, walking through the streets, there's a lot of people that are cleaning up shattered pottery, and it looks like a lot of the flowers and vines and such that were growing on the sides of the buildings have been maybe like torn off, stripped away. You're seeing some piles of petals and flowers and vines and vegetation as well. It seems like they are kind of like sweeping up, or they're kind of like harvesting and throwing into like a compost cart. And in
So is that
fact,
for everybody?
yeah,
right now?
all of you. So is you're sort of splitting your ways in town here. You're seeing that a lot of this pottery and such is broken, and a lot of the plants that were growing along the sides of the houses have been torn away in some fashion, and the residents here of Snamfi are cleaning up what little bits. Now, not all of them. I'm not talking like 90% of the town that you're seeing here is ruined. I mean, there's still plants and pots and whatnot, but you are seeing that there are pots that are broken, and you are seeing that there are swaths of sort of vines or creepers that are growing up walls that have been torn away where others haven't been. So unless the storm was somehow being very selective in what it was destroying, it's creating an odd pattern for you all as you're walking throughout the town.
Right, you want to stop and ask these people? We ask these people and investigate a little bit here.
I'm okay with that. Sure.
Okay, so I'll talk to one of the people that's cleaning.
All right.
And I'll listen in.
There's some kind of a stay-at-home mom. She's a tiefling, and she's just sort of muttering, and you hear some kids having a tussle inside. Come on now, and this is in Infernal. Please settle down. Oh, don't bother. And she's trying to like scoop everything, and just she looks absolutely frazzled.
And in Infernal, I'll ask. Well, maybe I'll ask. Listen, I'll ask her in common. Excuse me.
Turns around. Yes, and wipes some sweat off, and gets a bandana out.
What happened here? Are you all right?
Oh, yeah, it must have been a storm. Something terrible. It was really raining last night. That or there was mischief about in town.
What kind of mischief?
Bother. The plant my pottery. You know, it happens now and again. Kids get ruckusy, or some drunkards fight in the street. Everyone has pots sitting out. Why'd it have to happen to me? Sweep,
Is there
sweep,
anything
sweep,
unusual
sweep,
about your
sweep,
plants?
sweep.
We tend to be in a strangely magical zone.
Oh, is this your first time in the flower field?
I mean, I maybe have passed through once or twice, but never stayed very long.
Well, there's all kinds of plants and flowers that bloom out this way. That's what makes this part of Mesomasca so unique, and it's also why it's very frustrating. Many of us work hard to grow these local plants as best as we can, and I'll tell you, it's difficult. It really is. And that we're even in the middle of this place, let alone if anyone else outside of Mesomasca wants these beautiful flowers. I feel sorry for them. And at the same time, it does help promote tourism. People want to come here for our flowers. They can't always be shipped out easily.
No strange sightings of plants coming to life?
Not offhand, not that I'm aware. I mean that can happen in the flower fields. Most anything is possible. Why I've seen someone just lose 3 inches off their height. It just like that. The craziness that can occur. You have to be very careful.
I've seen something similar.
Oh shoot, that reminds me too. By the way. Okay, you're safe from that cure spell. But anything can happen. You have to be very careful with magic out this way. But plants, well, there's the wasps and there's the other beasts that roam around, but nothing inside the city. Everything here is it's groomed and grown. It all has its place. And she picks up a pot. She's like, oh goodness, this is, and then it just sort of like crack, and it just sort of like bottoms out as she's holding, and just the plants and the roots and everything kind of, and she's just holding this cracked pot that has the bottom that came out. Oh gods.
Do you want some help fixing some of these?
How so?
I mean, I have a little bit of magic.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
Okay.
We keep things old-fashioned around here for various reasons, sir.
Understood. Okay, well.
Bright, make a perception while this interaction is going on.
Okay. Oh, I wasn't paying attention. I was looking at the flowers. They're really pretty. And also I don't speak Infernal, so I was just kind of zoned out.
Yeah, there's like a butterfly, or we're in springtime, so there's probably like I don't know, a caterpillar crawling around somewhere, and your mind is just like is going through maybe almost like this butterfly effect of it, growing, getting wings, and all this other stuff. Yeah, you're in happy La La Land right now. Don't worry about it. All right, so Mordecai, you finish your conversation. She kindly rejects your offer to use magic to repair her plants, and you just see Bright is she's happy. She's having a good day. Probably just giggling to herself like this too.
There's so many flowers. I really like it.
Just watches for a second, and then goes back to the woman. What was your name again?
Oh, my name is Brioche.
Brioche. Do any of your neighbors happen to have the same kind of thing going on? It kind of looks like there's a big wreck around here.
No, for whatever reason, it looks like I was targeted.
Hmm. Such a shame. I don't have any other real way to help you if you're okay with.
I appreciate the offer, but no, I don't need charity. We'll make do.
Okay. Um, looks over to Bright. Got what you need?
What? Attention.
Oh. Okay.
Fertile is a really fun language to listen to. I wish I'd learned it.
I thought we were speaking in common.
And you said infernal the first time, so.
I meant common.
You just slip in and out of it.
It just slips.
I mean, sometimes people that know a lot of languages forget which one they're speaking, so I can appreciate where you're coming from.
When he starts speaking with his tail and not just with his hands, when the tail's getting involved too, it's really getting into it.
Because it sways.
Yeah.
Okay, so, what did you learn anything?
That it was a random attack. Not anything like we experienced the other night.
I mean, it seems kind of weird because she said. I mean, I assume that you've told me the things that she said.
Mm-hmm.
She said she seemed like she was targeted, but we've been seeing these broken pots all over the place, so I don't think she was the only target.
Yeah, I don't think it's an isolated thing. I almost think that we should.
Why don't we
move to
find
another.
and ask somebody else who looks friendly?
Investigate more of these.
Yeah.
Places.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's do that.
All right, so you're on your way to the butcher shop. You're looking at this, that, and the other, and we'll see what you come to here. Let's zap over real quick to Norlai and Tibba. As you are walking through the city, Tibba seems to know where to go, or at least that's what he's telling you. He's sort of like, this way, and is boldly pointing in a direction.
I'm making sure to hold on to his hand because that's what you do when you don't want to lose someone.
Okay. Or you can have him hang onto your tail. I don't know if you treat that like a leash or something.
Nah, hand's good for now.
Okay.
Okay.
So the two of you are following the instructions of young Tibba to get to his family's house, and there is a good number of people, maybe a dozen people, who are all sort of crowded around toward the center of town. They're all kind of crowded around a doorway, or like a corner, kind of like what's over here, and it seems like there's some people who are dressed in some kind of constable. Consolatory? No, hang on. Why am I mispronouncing? No.
Constabulary?
Yeah, constabulary. There we go. Constabulary. Constabulary.
I like the stab.
It's,
Constabulary.
And he's telling people, all right, hang on. We need to figure out what's happening here. Just move back, please.
What are all these people doing here?
I don't know. I'm kind of short, so I can't see over them.
Do any of them look familiar?
None of them look familiar.
I don't know these people. I'm like, maybe they're trying to see Mom.
Do you wish to linger, push through the crowd, or continue?
We could wait and see if they say anything.
Okay.
If they don't say anything fun, we'll go.
Okay.
In Common and
But I'm
Infernal,
so close to home.
there is a mix of people whispering like, "Oh, what? Is it a murder? I don't know. It looks like a person, but it's clearly not." And there's just Bip, 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 bip. You know, a lot of gossip going back and forth, but that seems to be the talk of this group here. And the you know, there's people are kind of coming and going. The officer's like, step back, please.
I don't think this is an appropriate topic for children. Maybe we should.
But what if it's my family? Tibba just looks at you with these big concerned eyes.
Well, we can see if it is, and if it's not, we'll go.
Norlai, would you like to look first on behalf of Tibba and see if it's PG?
I will just ask someone in the crowd, like, what's going on.
Oh, you poor dear. I don't know if you should really. Ken's looking down at you. It's hard to say. It looks like a corpse, but it's not. It's made of plant, and it's sort of just there, kind of rooted into the cobbles and against the wall.
That sounds weird and scary.
I've not seen anything like it, and I've lived in Flowerfield all my life. I've seen many things.
Well, Tibba, it's like a dead flower person, so it probably isn't your family.
But why is it so close to my house?
I do not know.
At this point, I would like to end up trying a spell.
Okay.
Because there was a comment this individual made that makes me wonder. Detect thoughts, DC 15.
And this is on the gossiper?
Yes.
Okay.
They said they lived here all their life and didn't flinch when Tibba's name was mentioned.
Nope. I mean, you're peeling back this brain like it's nothing.
Give me all your secrets. I'll take no locations, names, places, anything that's useful.
The primary, what's going through this person's mind is the interest in this murder ? In this thing is the front and center, and is overriding a lot more. You know, this person is has a bit of an opportunistic streak, and I don't mean for economic gain. I mean for look, she's probably a local biddy. She wants to be the first to get information and spread it to everyone else that she plays Dragon Chess with, you know, every Sunday kind of a thing on nice days in the park. And a lot of other things are just falling to the wayside, where she's just wondering, oh well, you know, and Martha said this, and and I know if I tell Barbara, and you're just getting, you know, you're tapping into this this, you know, old woman biddy psychic network that they all must go through in order to process whatever it is that they're going to be talking about. So there's nothing really else on her mind besides the machinations of what this is.
But she doesn't recognize Tibba's name.
She hasn't processed Tibba's name. Like, Tibba isn't a marble rolling around in her noggin right now.
Fascinating. But I will end up taking all the information that she knows of the house and all the delicious gossip, which might be relevant in the near future.
Okay. Yeah, so storms, and you know the local schedule for bingo, and I mean, all this common tier, like, street level stuff that a gossipy biddy would have in her brain, and she's going over how to tell the best story about seeing a dead plant type person just sort of pinned to the ground and wall at the same time.
On the plus side, we know where to end up getting all the best gossip in town. And I'm gonna have to talk to Margaret soon.
Oh yeah, Margaret. She's absolutely the worst. And you're gonna have to bring a platter of finger sandwiches, because I mean, otherwise, like that really opens her up.
I'll throw you under the bus, those old ladies.
Oh, they'll be savage too. Yeah.
Counting on it.
Okay, are you moving on, or are you staying at this odd scene?
Or more accurately.
Yeah, Noralai is the babysitter.
Well, Tibba, I don't think it's your family member, so we should keep going.
Okay. It's just over there. Looking at the window, seeing if anybody's home, anybody that Tibba should recognize.
Well, the locals who are living right outside here, like, definitely they're hanging out in the window. You know, one of them's probably even putting some laundry up, or another one has a pie in the window cooling off.
But none in Tibba's house.
No. The Tibba's house is not in this part of the city.
Okay. Well, then we better keep going.
All right, and then we come over to Celine, who's perking her ears up as you're going through the streets of Snamfi. Here, you have your porcelain mask on. Was it porcelain, or was it alabaster, or something like that, or was it like a bleached wood?
It was basically alabaster.
Okay. There's people walking around doing shopping. There's kids who are playing in the streets. There's smells of foods coming from restaurants. There's a lot of opportunities in a lot of places here in Snam 5 for you to wander into and plumb for knowledge.
Yes, there are. Well, I'm going to see if I can't find some of these gossiping old ladies and see if they don't know where I might be able to find the flower fields.
Okay.
Another way to spell bait. Well, I mean, you're not wrong.
Okay, so as you're walking through, there's there's a woman there's a woman out gossiping with another one. Like, their kids are probably playing together, and they're just sort of kind of keeping a half eye on them because they've played at these streets before. And you hear one like is leading the other, and like, and my son, came back and was telling me this fantastic tale. I never would have believed it. It's about some kind of a giant turtle man who apparently wears a crown and just magically transforms into a beautiful woman. And it seems like all the kids at school are talking about this, and the other's like, oh yes, I think I've heard that too. My own little Johnny was talking about that. And so you're getting this. Except everyone there in his class was talking about it's instead of a turtle person, it's like some sort of a ghost that wears this crown and turns into a beautiful lady. And I don't know where it's coming from. The kids these days, they have these. What do they call them? They're memes. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I just can't keep up anymore.
Maze. So Selena is going to approach the two ladies and go, excuse me, you two, may I ask you a couple of questions?
Oh, well, look at you. Oh, we don't get too many of your type around here. Oh, darling, look at you. And they're fawning over you. It's a human woman and a tiefling woman, and they're looking around. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Oh, and look at your ears. Oh, I've been so jealous of those.
Next thing I know, I need to watch out for a bunch of human ladies trying to harvest my organs.
Harvest your organs. I love this subplot.
But they're fawning over you, and what can we answer? What's going on? You must be new here. I love your mask, and they're touching your mask, and
it's just like, yes, I am new here. I am looking for the estate of the flower fields.
Oh, that. Oh, well, everyone knows where that is, especially after. Oh, well, all that's happened. Yeah, it's just down the road a piece. You can't miss it. And they'll point you in a direction.
Thank you. I must bid you farewell. I must be on my way. And with that, she's going to immediately abscond from that, because that was a little bit too much attention.
Okay, so you turn around, and as you're taking off, and the one lady, they go back to their conversation, and like the last thing you hear with your keen elven hearing is, and my little Johnny, he'll just burst into the room pretending like he's some sort of a professor, some mad doctor, and just go, "Good news, everyone." I don't understand it. I get playing pretend, but
good news, everyone.
So, Celine, you have the location of the Flowerfield Mansion. Is there anything else that you're hoping to pick up, or are you making your way there?
If I pick up something along the lines of, someone being seen, like anything to do with Tibba, or the Flowerfield family in general, then I might stop to have a quick listen, but otherwise it'll be straight to the mansion.
Sure. If you're just kind of strolling through town here, what's your passive perception?
My passive perception is a 16.
Okay. You do hear there are some ladies who are talking about poor Tigray Flowerfield, and all the mourning she's done after having to bury her husband, not but a day or so ago, and just that her son is missing, and it seems like this wonderful family, like some of the founders of this city, while they're not tieflings, just bless their hearts, and not in the way like bless their heart, not in that sarcastic way. I mean like actually bless their hearts.
Yeah, not the southern insult way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm not American, but I know about that one. But
oh, my sweet summer child.
Celine will keep that in mind and head to the mansion.
Okay.
To see if she can't find more of her friends, or just someone else in general that may have something to do with the disappearance of little Tibba. And of course, while I'm there, I'm also expecting to meet up with not Tibba at the same time. Because,
okay.
Well,
all right, so you're gonna go to the mansion. Noralai and Tibba are on the way. You were talking Tibba, and I got hung up on the name. Mordecai, you find the butcher shop, It's a butcher shop. You're definitely getting a little bit of a. I mean, maybe it's a spare piece of jerky, but you're definitely getting a bit of a tickle in your throat here.
Feeling parched.
You know, just because I mean, you're parched. There's all this like bloody meat on display. It smells of meat and blood in here. But if you would like to buy some blood, you're welcome to do so.
Yes. I would like to fill up my water skin with it. However much that will be. And however many, like, servings that makes.
The man behind the counter, gives you a look over. You want me to fill your water skin with blood?
Do you sell it there?
Oh, yes, I do. It's not exactly a common request.
Yeah. I've got to get it home.
So you haven't really noticed an uptick in business? Because some of the other places we've been to saying that people have been buying a lot more blood.
No, can't say that I have. Well, maybe I have, a little bit. Well, there's apparently a lady out in Browbeat who's been talking this stuff up to people. And I've had a couple people come through town over the past few weeks. Apparently looking to taste the benefits of different types of blood. I mean, look, all sorts of diets and fitnesses pass, and they come and go. But are you one of them? Are you from Browbeat?
Yes.
Nah, that might explain it. Look, I'll still sell you the blood. I'm happy to do so. I just want to know why you want it in a water skin. And
I've got to transport it back to Browbeat. I mean, it's got to last me that long.
Oh, like he kind of gives like a cringy face, like I don't know about that unless you're intending on using magic.
Have a refrigerated container.
Well, you have to understand here, in the middle of Flower Field, using magic is, it's a dangerous prospect. If you want the blood, it's fresh. I drink it within the day. After that, I'll wash my hands of the blood. Butcher humor.
But yes, that's what I'll take.
Okay. He'll charge you 2 copper pieces to fill your water skin.
Cool. That'll only get me like 1 serving, or
water skins are probably like a day's worth of.
My character sheet's not letting me edit my copper pieces.
Well, when you get the opportunity.
All right, whatever. All right.
I think a water skin is enough for maybe a day.
I can't hear you, Matty.
I believe a water skin is enough for a day. A day of water. So this is presumably going to give you a day of thirst reduction.
Okay.
Well, that should be okay. I don't feel like we had to come all that far to get here. So you can probably, we can just stop by again tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Take 2 water skins. And then if one gets all ooky, that's okay. Because you can also drink it, like if you get hurt or if you get knocked out again, it might be safer.
Yeah, I'll need a spare one then.
Yes, take 2 water skins and call me in the morning.
Well, I can't say I sell water skins, but I definitely can sell you the parts that are used to make them. I got a whole bin full of bladders.
Oh,
I don't
Mordecai,
know how to make them.
You didn't bring your water skins, Mordecai?
Hmm?
Skins?
You still cut out.
Oh, I thought you had water skins.
I have 1.
Oh, okay. That's an oversight. We should correct that. I don't know how to make them. And
Neither
he
do
doesn't
I.
either. Do where do you sell? Do you sell your bladders to anybody who makes the water skins?
Oh yeah, there's a couple leather workers in town. They'll come by and pick up pieces and parts.
Okay. Maybe we can go there
Hmm.
and get one for you. 'Cause
Oh
I think you
yeah,
should always have an
sure.
extra.
He goes on. He tells you, "Oh, you want to go? You want to go to Old Sam's Provisions? They have everything." He's his Old Sam, like, he just buys in bulk, and he's all about volume. I mean, if he just makes a couple copper on everything, he can keep his prices low, and he doesn't need to run sales. So.
Thank you for that information. That's helpful.
And he has kind of a butcher's cap. It's not really one to tip, but he gives you a bit of an acknowledging. You're welcome, and a bit of you're getting quaint country town hospitality here in Snam-Fi.
So, Mordecai, I've been practicing, and I know how to keep the blood refrigerated
Oh,
if we need to. But I don't want to do it here in town because everything will go foof. But yeah, I can refrigerate blood for you if you need.
good to know. That'll come in handy for Jade's bucket.
Yeah.
Dot dot dot. Are you two going back to the wench then, or?
Pick up that water skin first, but yeah.
Sure.
And we also wanted to find somebody else who had the same flower problem so we could investigate and compare their stories.
Exactly.
Let's see. You can get a water skin, especially because you came from the butcher who recommended it, and you're talking to Old Sam himself. You can buy a water skin for 1 silver and 7 copper instead of 2 silver pieces.
Let me pull up my character sheet again because it bugged out. Alright, so. You said 1 silver, 7 copper?
Yep. And then there was the 2 copper from the refill before.
Right. My character sheet's not letting me edit my money. I'll go ahead and mark that, but I'll keep track of that.
Okay.
Somewhere else on my sheet.
From here, where are you going?
We were going to investigate some more, yeah?
We were looking for someone else with broken flowers
Okay.
we could talk to.
Sure. You two are, you're making your way. You're crossing town here and there, and you come across a gaggle of people, who are all, oh, whoa, is it a body? What's going on? Kids are running around like, I want to poke it with a stick. I want to poke it with a stick. And there are a few constables who are outside. This is all outside. I mean, they're keeping people out of the supposed crime scene, and people are coming and going, and there's just a lot of women wearing very fancy hats, by the way, who are chip 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 chip.
Peggy Sue, I'm going to need you to do me a favor. I'm going to need you to hippity hop over there and see if you can get close enough to see the flowers without causing a disturbance. Do you think you can do that?
Wow.
Okay, thank you. And then I'll let her hippity hop over, and I will watch
Okay.
through her eyes.
Splat, 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 splat. Makes her way through. Mordecai, as Bright is kind of like, zoned out through her frog's eyes here. What are you doing?
I'm just kind of keeping an eye out just to make sure that there's no unwanted eyes coming towards her or towards Peggy Sue.
What's an unwanted eye in this case? There's a lot of people hanging around.
Just anyone who starts to approach, I'll want to give Bright a little bit of a nudge to let her know.
Oh, like, hey, get back in your... Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Get back in your body.
Okay, so, yeah, we could have a fun effect, like, I don't know if you want your eyes to roll back, or if cosmetically, Bright, if you want to swap your eyes for frog eyes, so when you're looking through the frog eyes, like, you have frog eyes, but Peggy Sue has your bright eyes, or whatever you'd like to do here, but...
I was thinking they'd just go blank.
Sure, okay.
And I've seen her do this before, so it's not concerning.
Yep. It could still be disturbing. I mean,
doesn't concern me.
All right. So you're watching guard, and so plop plop plop. Peggy Sue makes her way through the crowd, almost is stepped on a couple times, as there are there's just a lot of people shuffling around, and and women are sort of like swishing back and forth, and they have dresses, and but Peggy plop plop plops gets through, and go ahead and roll a perception as your frog familiar comes upon what this crime scene is, or at least what it's.
Well, perception for Peggy Sue is I roll an 18.
Okay, is that do frogs
important.
have anything?
17 plus 1.
Okay.
She has plus 1 perception.
Gotcha. Is there just a delay in it showing up on the... I believe you, but...
I'm not rolling it. I'm using my portent.
Oh, derp. Gotcha. Okay. So you have seen this before then. So yes, upon examining this, it looks like it is a... Well, you fought against humanoid-ish looking plants just the other night. This looks like this was actually a person, and is slumped in a corner. So that's why he's partially against a wall and partially rooted into the cobbles of the street. And that's an 18. That's pretty good. You are seeing scraps of fabric that remind you of the old-timey clothes that the vampires were wearing from before. If this is said creature, this one has been... it has just roots coming out of everywhere and just sort of like sticking it to the wall and to the ground. So there's not necessarily there's a humanoid shape left, but it looks like the whole thing is almost like a branch or a series of tree roots that just sort of grew in a shape of a person.
Interesting. So I speculate that these plants are trained to fight vampires, and that if they are able to overcome a vampire, they make this happen. So that the plants react, they glow differently when they attack vampires, because Mordecai got super red, and then Jade and I, we got purple flowers, and then everybody else got less brightly colored flowers. And Norai, who's like the least infected by various parasites compared to the rest of us, she got ignored by the flowers, also because she's a tiefling, and there's lots of tieflings who live here, so they probably just considered her, normal. But the rest of us, yeah. So I speculate that these are just vampire hunting plants, and that this was probably a vampire soldier who got eaten by the vampire hunting plants.
There you go, Mordecai.
Right, then.
Your prophetess has spoken.
This is not a prophecy, this is a theory.
Yes. The more and more I learn about this friggin' curse, the more I hate it.
Yeah, that's how curses are. They don't really ever... Like, there's very rarely anything good that comes out of them, but sometimes there is. I mean,
why would anyone choose this?
Well, some people, they really just think it's neat. They wear black a lot, and they just really get into it.
Just wear black. There's no need to go full on with the curse or anything. There have been no benefits at all. Nothing.
Well, there have been a little, because you can get better by drinking blood. And we've been fighting a lot of monsters that don't have any blood, but when we fought the troll, you could have drunk the troll blood and completely healed yourself. So there could be a little bit of a benefit.
Maybe.
I mean, effectively, as long as you have blood available, blood is like a healing potion for you. So, that's convenient. You only really have one healing potion. So, but for you, you have unlimited, so it's not so bad.
So long as I don't keep getting stink eyes when people get weird about me asking about it.
Yeah, that's gotta be kind of embarrassing.
Not bad.
All right, where to? What do?
So I would like to ask around and see if anybody has had this happen, like has seen this sort of thing before. Because my guess is that if these are vampire hunting plants, it's probably not the first time this has happened around here.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to ask people too.
And we know that there aren't as many vampires here because the butcher shop said that they're not really seeing increased business very much, just a little bit. So there's probably only like a couple of vampires in town.
Mordecai?
And these plants just ate one.
Go ahead. How would you like to ask around?
I'm going to ask somebody who looks like they're in charge, like one of the constables.
I'll follow along behind.
Yeah, there's one
I'll
here.
go with him.
What seems to be going on?
We're investigating a possible murder. Please, just take a step back, and there's nothing to be afraid of. Honestly, it looks like a cluster of roots. I don't even know if a murder took place. No one is missing, as far as we know. Well, no one that shouldn't be.
Can I see it from here?
Can
we make out details?
Yeah, if you're pushing forward to talk to one of the constables, then yeah, you can see it like over his shoulder.
So it looks kind of humanoid shaped, right?
Yeah, it looks like a humanoid tangle of roots slouched in a corner between a cobblestone street and a like a plaster wall.
People are going to speculate it with a shape like that.
I'm trying not to have people speculate, but look, you've seen and heard everyone here. This sort of stuff doesn't happen in a small town like Snamfi.
Never?
No. I mean, look at where we're at. We're in the middle of the flower field. This just doesn't happen. You know, occasionally mischief occurs with the plants, and that's probably because someone was casting magic.
But there's no laws enforcing any kind of forbiddance of magic, yeah?
You will be held accountable for anything that has happened because of your upsetting the natural surroundings.
Obviously.
But we don't expressly forbid magic here, no.
But is there anyone that you suspect has cast a spell to make this happen? Or maybe the person themselves was wearing magic items? You know that those aren't illegal either.
No, I haven't. I've never seen anything like this. I've seen people center fireballs on them, but no, I haven't seen this.
Strange.
And again, no one's been reported missing. No one knew anyway, and it's just... It could just be a cluster of roots.
I think so. It looks to me. Hi, Mr. Policeman.
I'm
down here. Yeah, you might have overlooked me. Hi. Yeah, as you might have noticed, I'm not from around here, but it looks to me like this person was wearing the clothes of the Empire. And if you look really close, you can see that there's like some of the designs that the Empire use in their army uniforms.
Poke, poke, poke. And the kid's like, hey, can I poke it too? I have a stick. And a mom just sort of like, come back here.
You mean to say you didn't notice that before?
Yeah, they don't really look like what we've seen. We've had traders from the Shadowheart Empire come through here. They don't quite match up, I guess, in a way, but no, it's not like what the traders have been.
But it's not Snap-Fi.
No, it's not local, but it's tough. We're a small town, but we do get a lot of traffic coming through. After all, the flowers here are unique, and, well, especially with the flower fields, they're the only ones who are capable of exporting some of them.
No, so oh, you just disappeared. Oh, you're back now. Whew. I must have just blinked into my familiar for a moment and I got disoriented. So the Empire's been around for a long time, and they have some of their designs, like some of the old-fashioned ones, are coming back again. It's like a fashion thing. So I think this is like one of the retro old is new again style, and I recognized them from a long time ago because my people live a really long time.
Yeah, that's what I understand. You know, little short stacks like you see a lot in your life.
I mean, I myself am 400. I know it doesn't look like it.
So no, not at
all.
all.
From when I was younger.
Well, aren't you just a budding blossom? Now, that said, I appreciate the info. If you want to stop off, and he'll give you directions to go to, effectively, like the sheriff's office here. I took down notes. If you want to go and talk more about this, if you're an expert, then we could use all the help we can get. This is just really weird. And you know what? You'd think, if this is someone from the Shadowheart Empire, we would be hearing no end of it from them, let alone from anyone else in town. But no one's come by to collect them.
One would think.
Oh, it's possible that the news just hasn't gotten to them yet, because this is probably brand new, right? I mean...
Oh, it must have happened last night during that storm. It went through, and I can't tell you the amounts of vandalism we've had. In fact, it just looks like all down the main boulevard, just taking the road into town. Just like every shop in store, well, not everyone, but a good chunk of them just seem to something happen. Vicious winds or kids playing pranks. I can't explain it. I haven't seen anything like that.
So, okay. So, but this is the first body like this that you found.
That trail.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like this before.
Okay, that's very interesting. Yeah, I might stop by and we could talk about this down at the police station later. That would be okay. I can't promise anything, but it's definitely something I might do.
Well, little missy, any help you can provide. We want to return back to being a quiet farming town. You know, we live in the flowers. They bring us peace and prosperity, and we don't want trouble like this.
Okay. Well, thanks very much, and I definitely will try to help you if I can. And you've helped us a lot too, so thank you very much.
And then he goes back. All right, everyone, come on, back. And you had a bunch of ladies that were just sort of like, they were all very casually like, oh boy, like they're kind of like leaning over and like scratching their necks as you were talking to the officer, just to make sure that their ears were tuned in on you here. And then, as soon as you say goodbye, they're all like, oh, well, that's a thing over there I'm going to go and explore. And they just start kind of walking off. And, a good chunk of the crowd starts, dispersing.
Okay. Well, I think that was really educational, although I think there's probably more pieces to this puzzle.
Yeah, there's definitely more pieces here, I'm sure.
Okay.
Do you want to check out more of the stores?
Oh, I would like to find somebody else who has broken flowers. And see if we could corroborate your story from before. But other than that, I'd like to meet up with the group again and find out what Selena's found out and see what sort of trouble that Jade and Norlai got into.
That was very presumptive. Not incorrect, but presumptive.
I mean, it's not incorrect given the current series of events, but Yes, very
Very well. Then, how would you like to do this? I don't think you set up a rally point per se.
We didn't.
Mm-mm.
You can just wander around,
It'll be
I suppose.
coincidence.
Well, I mean, we know where the flower fields are, right? And we
Yeah.
know that Jade and Norlai were going there. So we could probably find them if we wanted to. And then I think Celine was planning to just come back to the...
I was heading
Tumble Branch.
to the flower field, so we could just.
We don't know that in character.
Yeah, but in
well,
character.
we don't know that.
Okay. Then,
No, but
So I'm having a vision that maybe it would be easier for us to find Norlai and Jade.
You have reason to believe they're not at the tumbled wench.
Oh no, we know they were going to see the flower fields, so why don't we follow them? Plus the flower fields is where I wanted to go anyway, because they're the only ones who can tell us if they've had any contact from vampires or from Tibba. Like
That's
real
true.
Tibba.
We should investigate there.
There's lots of good reasons to head on over to the flower fields.
very well.
I didn't do it.
Then you two can start making your way in that general direction. Why don't we take a 10-minute break here? Restroom break, get a snack or a drink, and when we come back, we will have our split party now, supposedly reconverging on the Flowerfield Mansion. So I have 1:18 a.m. So I guess we'll go till we'll come back at 1:28 or so. I might not need as long. So when I sit back down and I'm ready, I can take the thing off the camera. Or I can unmute my mic, and we'll go if you all are back and ready. Aside from that, if you need 10 minutes, take 10 minutes and make sure you do what you got to do.
I've got a cat. She came and pounced.
The
on
cat
my dog.
has you. Let's be fair about this.
I've got to go in 40.
You have to do what?
I got to go in 40 because it's 20 to 5 for me. 20 past 4 for me right now, and I need to leave in 5.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you could still play until our adjusted 3 a.m.
Yeah, no.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'll see what I can do. I'll see what I can do, but I think that's going to be the case.
Okay. Well, then here. For tonight, we'll have to talk about this because I thought we were okay with the time zones. And hey, bubbles like this happen. We'll talk it out.
I thought everything was sorted and it was still going to be a 1 p.m. start for me over here too, but obviously not. So that'll be something that we need to talk about.
Okay. All right, then.
And I think Derek isn't able to start much earlier because he's got to work.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
we'll get it done. Let's take a quick break, and then we'll come back, and let's get through this session, and then we'll have a whole week to talk about any adjustments or how we want to go forward, or if it's just a shorter session, and I'll just take that into consideration with the pacing of the narrative and going from there.